Now, all right, cool, cool. Let's get to the notes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DJ Greg podcast. I'm glad you are here. You want to talk about a DJ that's doing it big? Joe Bunn is that dude. He's got 5 states, 5 business offices, and looking to make a big name for himself and his company in the DJ world. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bunn DJ Company, this is Joe Bunn. Joe, what's happening?
What's up, Greg?
I'm good, man. What's up with you?
Dude, just trying to hang in there through all the troubles in the world right now, but surviving, man. Persevering, maybe not striving, but surviving right now. So that's all we can hope for.
That's all.
I would like to hit the fast forward button and go ahead and skate to Christmas, maybe even past Christmas. But I guess we got another half a year to get through here.
There we go. You know what, Joe? It all goes by quick, man. Thanks for being a guest.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Right on. So Joe, let's talk about your early beginnings, man. How'd you get started in the DJing?
Man, it's one of those things where, you grow up in a small town, and back then, I mean, this would have been like the early 80s. There wasn't really a lot of mobile DJs. I think there was one guy in town that did it. And so I started, hearing about these little teen parties that were going around, middle school parties at like the country club. And everybody's like, man, the DJ's terrible. And you think you could do it? I know you like music. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Take out your parents' home stereo, set it up on a table. Literally didn't even have speakers that go on stands, like the ones that go in your house.
Right.
And I put them up on a card table, and I think I had a cassette deck, and had a friend of mine that would, he would hold like the Sony Walkman. Remember the yellow sports Walkman?
Yeah.
And he would kind of fast forward the tapes or rewind them to where I wanted them. Then he'd hand them to me, and then I'd play them on 2 different tape decks. I had 2 tape decks. Then I finally got a set of turntables. And then as I started getting a little bit more known, the one mobile DJ that was actually good, he said, I'm going to quit and I'm going to be the golf pro in town. And do you want to buy my business? I was like, heck yeah, man. And he sold me his trailer, which was so raggedy, man. And his gear, which it could have been equally as raggedy. And I think he had a couple contracts with like the local Toyota dealership or something, to play music on Saturdays. And I just bought the whole thing. And I guess I think I was 15 or 16 because I feel like I could drive, like I had a little Chevy Blazer or something. I hooked up to that trailer and dragged it around.
Okay.
But that's how it got started, man. That was in Eastern North Carolina in 80, probably 3 or 4. Here we are, 30 years later, still doing it. So, went from there, did it through high school, went to Carolina, go Tar Heels, did it all through the frat scene at Carolina. Then came out of there, did all the bars and nightclubs, around North Carolina, and even moved down to the beach for a while, played at all those kind of beach clubs and beach bars. And then I've been back here in Raleigh, North Carolina for like 20 years now, since like 99, maybe 20 some years. Wow. And that's when I really started to blow up Bunn DJ Company. Instead of just being Joe Bunn, DJ Joe Bunn, run around, do everything, I was like, man, I gotta, I feel like this can be a career. This isn't a hobby. Like, wait a minute, I think this can be a job. And, so that would have been 99. I would have been almost 30 years old before I even figured out like, oh, this isn't a college thing or, something to do to chase girls. Like, this is an actual career. And that's when I started going out. And at that time there were record stores. And, I'd go in the record stores. Yo, who are the DJs in this town? All right, I need that guy's phone number. Or I put an ad in the newspaper, like on the back page of, the local paper. Hey, seeking DJs, this, that, and the other. So, it got, and honestly, what's crazy about that is I got a couple guys still from that early, almost 20 years ago now, that are still working here,
Wow.
Yeah.
Real. What are you doing to make them happy, though? I mean, to stay with you.
I think, man, I always go back to, and I I don't say this in a negative way, but I mean, you have to pay people well to stay with you, and you have to treat people well. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm friendly with these guys, but they also know I'm their boss. And so, you know, that's one thing. And I think building like the culture here in terms of, you know, go to ride go-karts or go play, you know, laser tag or have everybody over to the house for a cookout is just as important as, you know, paying somebody what they're worth. Because somebody like you and me, you know, that have been doing this a while and going out and rocking parties, we know how hard it is, you know. So as a DJ and a company owner, it's easier for me to come off the hip and pay somebody because I'm in the trenches too. And I'm like, this ain't no, you know, show up and play. You know, you got to prep, you got to have your music right, you got to talk to the client, you got to redo the planner so, you know, so that fits on one page on your iPad. Like, there's work behind it. And so I'm willing to pay to have that peace of mind, you know what I mean, and go out on a Saturday, even if I'm not playing. If I'm sitting at the beach on a Saturday, back when the world was perfect or semi-perfect, not perfect, but you know, we do 15 shows or something on a Saturday. I could be sitting on the beach and not have to worry about somebody calling me, yo, I got this problem, or, you know, what do you do when the uplights flicker? And I'm like, I never got those phone calls, you know, knock on wood, because they were trained right. They've been here a long time and they were paid to deal with the problems.
Right on. That's excellent, man. So you put a great training in place.
Yep.
So that you're not bugged with phone calls.
Yep.
And those are great keys to success. You know, when you're able to say, all right, I want to take a weekend out for myself. I want to be with my family, and know that you can turn your back and everything runs smooth. That's a great peace of mind right there. Great. Yep. And so when you were first starting out, right, you were getting everything all together. What were maybe a couple of mistakes that you made, and how did you overcome those really quick?
I think, you know, one of the early mistakes I made, and still probably prone to make it sometimes, back when the world was not what it is now, but just overspending on stupid stuff. You know, you don't have to have a new controller every 6 months. You know, it's harder to unlearn the old one and learn the new one. It's not even almost worth the $1,200 on the new controller. Like, what does it really do that the old one didn't do? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, spending too much on an office space, just stupid stuff like that. And it adds up, you know, when you get to the end of the year and you worked your butt off, and you get to the end of the year and your accountant's like, you didn't make any money. Why? Well, you spent $2,000 a month on rent, and plus electricity, and plus gas, and you don't own the building, and you bought this controller, and you bought this, and you know, you did this wedding show, and you did that wedding show, and you put an ad in this magazine. You know, all this stuff was just adding up. And finally I was like, man, you gotta run the business leaner in order to make profit, because every dollar, you know, going towards that stuff is money out of your pocket.
That's so
if you're
true.
the owner, you know, if you're the owner.
Yeah. And that advertisement is no joke.
Oh man, stuff adds up fast.
It is no joke, man. Wedding shows, everything. You know how it is. So Joe, let's talk about, you know, the time that we were in the news, and I caught you out there. Who was the news network that caught up to you?
It
with
was
that story?
It's interesting, man, because I've talked about this before. This is gonna be a good episode, Greg. I can feel it, because I'm dropping all kinds of little bombs here. One, that lady happened to reach out because she saw me at something I did during quarantine outdoors that actually I never showed anybody the footage because it got way too big, way too fast. It was just not safe. I pitched it to this outdoor mall that had a stage in the middle of the mall. Or you know, picture an outdoor mall with a courtyard in the middle.
Yeah.
The courtyard had a big stage, and with all this AstroTurf out front, you know. And so I pitched it, hey, I'm going to come and play on that stage, I mean, for free, and tell everybody that lives around there, there's all these condos around there, to just open their windows or come out on their balcony. It was beautiful. It was May, probably. It was 85 degrees that day, gorgeous. Okay. And I get there, and that lawn is packed, like near concert level. And I was like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for, but I'm so tired of being indoors that I think I'm going to play it anyway.
Right.
So, and again, they were already out there. They didn't open the pools in any of those buildings. So these young professionals, let's say 25 to 35-year-olds lived in those buildings, all single, were coming out in groups because the pools weren't open to sit out on this lawn. Because again, it was one of the early days of like, oh, I can get out here and get a tan type thing.
Right.
So I just started playing, man. And I wasn't trying to make people dance. I was just, I was just creating a vibe. And the reporter for the local CBS affiliate happened to be there. And I guess she wrote my number down or asked somebody who I was or whatever. And she reached out when she was doing a story on weddings. And she just contacted me. We did a Zoom interview. And, if you saw it, it was basically just me telling how we had rescheduled 165 weddings so far and, didn't know when the end was going to be. And I said, look, Ma, I made it. And like everybody was saying, it's like, it's not really how you wanted to be on the news, is it? And I was like, no. But my point was, ironically, you can get on the news in your town pretty easy. If you find their website and ping the right person, and even if you miss, just say, hey, can you pass this to the right person? You will eventually get somebody that is starving for news, and
that's right.
And you pitch them a story. I used to be on every year after the Grammys. The day after the Grammys, they would bring me on Monday morning because the Grammys are always on Sunday, and I would just give my recap. Oh, I don't think this should have won, or I'm glad this won, or blah blah blah.
Right.
Every year, and I finally just kind of quit bothering them about it. But you can get on the news just by asking on your local affiliate. Ironically, though, and I'm not sure how it led to this, but I think I'll be in the New York Times probably today or tomorrow from a reporter that somehow found me and, again, I don't know, maybe she, follows me or something, and she had a lot of questions about how wedding professionals are, responding to not only COVID, but, the whole Black Lives Matter thing,
right.
Racial injustice. She had seen a post I had made about it. And what made you speak out on this? And I just kind of told her, like, I felt drawn. Like, I felt like I was being, like, pulled almost. I was like, I know this sounds weird, but I felt like almost something pulling me, to speak up.
Right.
Which I don't really do. Like, if you go back historically, like about politics or anything, but it was so big. It was like, I don't know, man. It was a real interesting few days right after the whole George Floyd thing. And I know we were going to kind of touch on that, but I guess I just kind of jumped to that part of the story. And I just felt like people were, and I told her I felt like people were waiting for me. And when I made that post, multiple people said they literally said, if you go back and look at all those, there's hundreds, there might be 300, 400, 500 comments on Facebook. And multiple people, especially people that have known me for a long time.
Yeah.
The comment literally said, we were waiting for you. And I was like, I know.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was that like,
I'm like, okay, this guy is known around in his community. He makes a difference. He gets people out. It's not just, you're not just a DJ that's like, just rocking the decks. You reaching out.
Yeah.
Your community,
and it was bigger.
Change.
Yeah. It was really life-changing almost, you know what I mean? And because, you never really know your reach until you really start to speak up about issues. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Either way, like, and I'm sure I lost followers, and I was like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than us. Like, we just got to speak. And so,
absolutely.
If you're listening to this and you unfollow me, bye. Good riddance.
Well, you know what? You probably will gain a few followers from this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because if you're all about positivity and change for America, this is it.
I'm trying to be, man. It's a wild times, like we said. It's just, what a year, man.
This has been the craziest with COVID, and then now this, and
yes,
and like, oh my goodness,
what a
year! You don't want to know what's next, man. We just
right. That's what I said. Like, an alien could come down and slap me in the face, and I'd be like, man, this is just par for the course.
You're like, Ma, I really made it.
Yeah, I made it.
to another
A
universe.
green alien to slap the hell out of me.
Oh man.
Man.
Great insight, though. Great insight.
Crazy.
So Joe, I mean, 5 states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Montana, California. What's the other state?
Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, Richmond, Virginia. Okay, yes. What was your mindset in reaching those areas?
So this is what's crazy about this. And people ask me about this all the time because they're saying, well, maybe I could do it, and you can, but the success factor for me was that all those guys and girls at one point worked for me. So they worked here in Raleigh, and they were like, man, I love my job, but I'd rather be an owner, and DJ like you. And I said, well, not here, not in my city. So David first approached me with it, and I was like, man, dude, go to Charleston. He wasn't married. He was probably not even 30. I said, dude, go to Charleston. Charleston's one of the biggest wedding locations in the entire country. And it's one of my favorite cities. If you've never been to Charleston, South Carolina, go. But he moved down there, and immediately it was a takeover. Like he just started killing it right away. Started, got 2 guys, then 4, then 6, and he just blew up. And then Brandon was working here. He's like, man, I want to move back Western North Carolina, closer to my family. And we never really went out there. It was, 3 hours from here. And so I was like, you take from, the triad to the mountains. And so he took that. And then Frank had not worked for me for 10 years, but he was living up in Richmond. He wanted to get back in the game, and he did that. Same with Steven out in San Diego. He had not worked for me in 10 years, but he just kept seeing me post about, how well the other guys were doing. He was DJing, just one-man show. And then, at 43 years old, my sister all of a sudden decides that, she's had enough of the rat race and she wants to be a DJ. So she's in Montana doing her thing and learned to DJ and everything, because she was the only one that wasn't an actual DJ. And she sent that I couldn't have been more proud. Dude. She sent me a mix last night. It was like almost midnight. I was about to go to bed, and she sent me a mix, and I was like, man, I just got to stay up and listen to it. Dude, I was so proud. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but based on how little she's been doing it, you can tell she just has it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost in her DNA. Yeah, it's in her DNA. She loves music. And I texted her immediately. I was like, damn, this mix is kind of fire.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's awesome. So now with that kind of expansion, are you looking to expand in other states, or you just want to keep the 5?
Man, it would be tough. I would. It would be harder though. I would have to spend a lot more time with that person than I did with them. They'd have to come here probably for a while and like shadow me and go to shows with me and sit in the office with me. It would just be more of a time commitment for me, I think.
Right. All right. So Joe, in wrapping up, what's your, even before we do that, I mean, I want you to take a little time right now to just plug in whatever you got going on, promo, because I know you're everywhere.
I am. If you want to follow me, the best place to really see kind of my life is my personal page, which is at Joe Bunn, JoeBunn. That's the best way to follow me and find me and DM me, and I always will respond to you. But honestly, man, I'm sitting in a studio that I just finished. I told Greg nobody's even seen it yet. I'm still working on it, and I built this. Yeah, he definitely is the first one. But I just built this during quarantine to keep shooting content for what is called the DJ's Vault on thedjsvault.com, obviously with no apostrophe in it. And what it is a membership community. I mean, it is a paid site, $20-$30 a month, something like that. And everything that's up in my head that's, that I've been working on for 35 years in the DJ business is basically now inside the DJ's Vault. So there's hundreds of short videos. There's dozens of longer videos. There's hundreds of articles I've written along with a recording. If you don't like to read it, you can listen to it. All our discounts and partnerships with people to get good deals on gear. There's webinars every week, really every other week sometimes. And that kind of leads me to the one we're doing this Thursday. So it'll be July 9th. So whenever this drops on Thursday, July 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Greg, I'll send you the link and you can kind of put it down wherever you post this, and that way they can just click on it. But
Okay.
we're basically doing the Mobile DJ's Guide, Survival Guide 2.0. So a couple months ago, we did it. You know, we talked about people that are having success during this trying times, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some things I've been doing, you know, to make sure that you, whatever happens the rest of the year, which I don't think any of us can predict. Every state is different. You know, even the states that thought they were open are now closed again. So I don't think any of us can really predict it. But what you want to do at this point is like we said at the top of the show, just survive. Like we really got to get to next year. You know, everybody's hoping for a vaccine sooner than later, but
Right.
we just got to make it out of this year. Quite frankly, is my goal, and to still be here. You know, still be in business. Listen, am I gonna? Yeah, I looked at my numbers today. Am I gonna hit what I thought I was this year? Absolutely not. Nobody is. But
Right.
you know, I'm still in business, and I'm gonna be in business. You know, for as long as I'm alive, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel you.
So anyway, definitely. It's just when Greg posts a link, just click on that, and you can sign up, and then we'll see y'all on Thursday night, hopefully.
Awesome. Hit that link, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Joe, what's your meaning of success, my man?
That's a great question. I should have marinated on that one a little bit longer. Man, for success to me is not money based. I think success is almost more respect based for me. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
at the end of it all, really, maybe a couple of facets. One, you know, at the end of it all in your career, whatever you did you do it the best you could? And did you help people? You know what I mean? Which I think I'm doing now more than ever. And I think the success also on a personal level is, you know, did you take the time to check things off your bucket list? Did you go to that concert that you wanted to see for that band at Red Rocks in Colorado, you know, for the band that you loved since you were 18? Did you, you know, take your family to Disney World? Did you, you know, like I think there's twofold. It's like a success is like there's a personal goal, you know, and then there's a business goal. And I think if you can get both of those, you know, by the time you're you're an old man, much older than me, then that to me is success, man.
Right on. Right on. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Joe, anything else you got coming up before we?
Man, those are I want people to be on this thing Thursday night. And I think that once you'll see how I talk and how I'm real with people, that you'll probably, if you're a DJ, want to join the DJ's Vault, because now, especially if you're not working much, there's no better time to go in there and learn. Watch these videos, you know, read the articles, watch the webinars that are live almost every week. And it's just such a great time right now to learn.
Yeah, I agree. I've taken a lot of time, read some books, do some self-improvement exercises.
Yep. A
Now
lot
it's
of people
time to
have.
do it.
Yep.
And including this podcast, because I've always talked about doing a podcast, and
Sure.
this is the time to do it now.
I agree, man. I agree. I've been on so many of these, and I've encouraged so many people to start one, you know, and you know, here I am with the PhDJ podcast. Again, if you're not listening to that, I do with Mike Walter up in New Jersey every single week, and we've got 182 episodes now. So that's 3.5 years that we've been doing this. So if you can get it going, you know, and stick to it, it's just like it becomes a habit. You know what I mean? It would feel unnatural to not do it, like brushing your teeth almost. You know what I mean?
Yes. You just wake up and you do it right away.
Yeah.
Involuntary.
Yep. Every Wednesday morning we record.
Nice. Yeah, and I've seen a few of those, man. Mike is very knowledgeable, and he puts that in his books. I'm like, how does this guy have all of this in his head?
Dude, he does great stuff. Everything I've ever bought of his has been good. Sometimes I'll be over here with like a notepad while we're recording the podcast, like writing down notes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, I might as well take advantage of this. Like,
right, I would too, for sure.
They have a huge company. You know, we've rescheduled 165. I think I saw a post of his yesterday. They rescheduled 350. Like,
oh my goodness,
crazy, man. But he's lucky, you know, they haven't canceled. They're rescheduling. And
Right,
if
they're rescheduling.
if
That's
we
the
can
big,
hold that, you know, keep holding that,
that's right.
that will make us all get through this. You know, if people start canceling, wanting money back, that's the
Yeah,
worst case scenario, man.
yeah. I had a couple of those, but for the most
Yeah,
part, I have rescheduled. So
me too. Me
that's
too.
good. That means that you're providing a great product, and people are willing to hold out to get
Yep.
that product.
Yep.
That's what
Absolutely.
that means. So,
Yep.
man,
And they want to get married, man. They want to have a party and they want it to be proper, you know.
right, right. They don't want to just go to the justice of the peace and that's it. They
No, man.
they want to wild out.
Yeah. They've had this dream forever, man.
Absolutely. And what a better way to wild out to, like, Joe Bunn spinning on the ones and
Yes, sir. DJ Greg rocking the Minnesota
you know.
area.
Hey, Joe, man, I want to thank you for your time, your insight. You're a great guy to talk to, man. And this is our first conversation, man. And you wowed me. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, anytime. We'll circle back in a few months, do part 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can't just do Joe Bum one and out. No,
No.
it
It's
don't happen like
it's like
that, man.
it's a documentary. It's a
You know what I'm saying?
multi-part.
This is like Ali and Frazier, man.
Yeah.
It ain't just one time.
Round one. It's round one.
Round one. Joe, thanks a lot for your time, man. I know you got to do some things. Shout out to you and your family, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate you having me, man.
All right, my man.